It's 4:30 on WKYT this morning. As the community mourns, we're learning more about the 14 people who lost their lives in that deadly shooting in San Bernardino.
A community mourns the loss of a Western Kentucky couple police say died in a crash in Lexington. How they're being remembered.
A grand jury has indicted a Southern Kentucky police chief. Why his attorney says the charges don't make sense.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome in to WKYT This Morning. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith.
We got word that Kentucky lost last night. We were up late. You know, it was a late game, so I missed it.
I heard something when I was in the bathroom putting on my makeup, and
Not
bummer.
good. We'll have details about it, but about a 10-point win for UCLA on the road for the Wildcats last night. Let's check in with Micah right now. Temperatures are down out there this morning.
Yes, they are. It is cold outside. We're sitting in the mid-20s in many locations, clear skies. It's a beautiful start. I mean, you can see every star in the sky, but that leads to some very cold conditions around here at this time of year. 27, a very popular number across the screen. We'll finish off in the mid-20s for most locations, but then we head toward the afternoon, and we're going to be right around 50 degrees. That's actually average for this time of year. It'll be cool, but it will be sunny, and we'll see a lot of sunshine throughout your weekend, too. I'll get into that weekend forecast. It does get better. It's coming up.
Okay, we'll see you. Thank you. The FBI is working to piece together what led to Syed Farzan Farouk and his wife, Tashun Malik, to carry out the San Bernardino shooting massacre. And we're learning more now about the 14 people who lost their lives.
In San Bernardino, people came together last night for a vigil to honor the victims. Paul Verkaman has the latest.
The 14 victims of Wednesday's shooting in San Bernardino, each a story of a life lived and lost. Robert Adams, a devoted father to a 20-month-old baby girl who loved his job as an environmental health specialist with San Bernardino County. 52-year-old Nicholas Thalancinos also worked for San Bernardino County's Environmental Health Department. Also killed Michael Wetzel, a 37-year-old father of 6 children. Many hours after the shooting, his wife learned the devastating news.
It was about 10 o'clock at night that she finally got word that that he was one of the people that was murdered.
Another victim, Benetta Bet Badal. A family friend says she fled Iran at 18 years old to avoid persecution as a Christian.
Myself and the family, we just find it just sadly ironic and horrible that a woman that came to the country under these circumstances would find herself gunned down by religious extremists.
Also tonight, we're getting a closer look at the gunman's getaway car and just how much ammunition and weapons Saeed Rizwan Farouk and his wife had at their disposal. Those who risked their own lives to get others to safety say the crime scene was surreal.
It was unspeakable, the carnage that we were seeing, the number of people who were injured and unfortunately already dead, and the pure panic on the face of those individuals that were still in need and needing to be safe.
In San Bernardino, California, I'm Paul Verkaman.
Well, a law enforcement source says Farouk traveled to Saudi Arabia twice, once in 2013 where he met and got engaged to Malik. He went again last year to bring her to the U.S.
We're learning more about a Western Kentucky couple killed in a crash in Lexington. Investigators say 76-year-old Joseph Beamer and 73-year-old Cynthia Beamer died after a truck hit their truck on Versailles Road yesterday. Their deaths have devastated Lexington's food truck community. The couple's daughter and her husband recently opened up a restaurant that has its roots in a food truck. Monique Blair has the story.
Joseph Beamer and his wife Cindy were described to me as two people who made a huge impact on the lives of others. A couple who was getting ready to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. But that was all cut short when they were hit head-on Wednesday morning on Versailles Road. The couple died at UK Hospital within minutes of each other. Wednesday morning, Joe and Cindy Beamer stopped here at Bradford Barbecue. It's the restaurant their children own. After spending a long Thanksgiving weekend together to say goodbye to them before heading back to their home in Paducah. But they never made it home, and now the restaurant is closed while their family prepares to lay them to rest.
I know as far as their priorities go, likely they could care less about that right now, and I understand that totally. However, the reality of the situation is that they make a good portion of their income from this. So perhaps that is a way that I or someone else can help.
Up in Smoke barbecue owner Jamie Griffin tells me a few years ago the Beamer's daughter and son-in-law were big proponents of getting food trucks established in Lexington. So now those in the industry want to help the couple out in their time of grief.
They're the first ones to jump up and help, the first ones to help everybody. They will find a tremendous amount of support in the industry here locally, because you couldn't have a better reputation than they do. You just couldn't.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
The Fayette County coroner said yesterday the charges were possible for the crash, but Lexington police say it is too early in the investigation to know if the other driver whose truck hit the Beamer's truck will be charged.
A grand jury has indicted a Southern Kentucky police chief on theft and abuse of power charges. Science Hill Police Chief Robbie Gossett turned himself in yesterday, then bonded out of jail. Gossett's attorney told us the charges do not make sense. Garrett Weimer has the story from Pulaski County.
He's the chief of this city's one-man police department, and people I spoke to say his arrest has been the talk of this small town. Some were shocked, others say they want new police leadership. Chief Robbie Gossett was indicted Wednesday. He turned himself in Thursday morning, then posted bond. The small police department here is located inside City Hall. When I went by the police department later in the day, no one was there. I did, however, talk to Gossett's attorney.
At this time, we're at a loss for what these charges could possibly stem from.
Gossett's accused of theft and abuse of power involving totals of at least $10,000. The indictment says it happened in 2008 and 2009.
If there was this, a fear of Mr. Gossett being an embezzler, why in the world would it take 6 or 7 years, almost 8 years, to indict him for this crime?
His attorney says Gossett is an honest man, calling him a, quote, pillar of the Science Hill community.
Needless to say, he's taken aback. He's shocked by this, but like everybody else in Science Hill, and I live there myself, I don't believe a word of this.
The mayor here told me he has no comment, that they're going to let the situation play itself out in court, but he did say they're going to have a council meeting to discuss Chief Gossett's future with the city. In Science Hill, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Gossett's arraignment is scheduled for December 22nd. His attorney says he will plead not guilty.
Police in northern Kentucky are looking for a bank robber who they say gave an unusual excuse for stealing money. These surveillance pictures show the robber at the U.S. Bank in Verona. The Boone County Sheriff's Office says the man pulled a gun on a teller and demanded money, but police say the robber also apologized to the teller and said he had to steal money because his children had been kidnapped. U.S. Bank is offering up a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Fayette County Detention Center leaders need your help finding an inmate who didn't return after receiving a court-ordered funeral pass. 30-year-old Jonathan Howard was in jail on theft charges. The jail says that he was released at 1 this afternoon to go to a funeral, or yesterday afternoon. He was supposed to return at 4. Howard hasn't shown up at the jail. An arrest warrant for escape has been obtained.
Well, it's good to have you along on WKYT this morning. Our time now is 4:38.
Chocolate and peppermint sounds pretty good to me. A delicious combo. Coming up, we have a recipe to prove it.
Now we're talking about some chilly conditions this morning. We get into the afternoon right around average, and then it gets above average for your weekend. I'll show you a good looking forecast coming up.